What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? Listen, we are back. Episode number 14 of the Two Young Pastors
Mhm,
podcast. We are so grateful that you're here with us today
mhm.
as we have yet another conversation between myself, Jawan Sanders, and my dear friend, my fellow brother in ministry, Elijah Stanley. We're so happy that you've joined us yet again for
Yeah.
yet another episode of the Two Young Pastors podcast. We're two young pastors, talk about our lives, talk about our passions,
Mhm.
possibly talk about ministry, and talk about the things that are on our mind right now. And listen, with that being said, Elijah,
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
on your mind today, my friend? What's on your mind today?
Man, I'm sure that I think people can relate to this. Like,
Mm,
I went to my barber today to, kinda get cut up a bit. Yeah, yeah.
my man.
I'm wearing a hat because I don't like to put products in after getting a haircut.
Mm,
Want my scalp to, heal after getting cut. And I realized that I really, really have a preference for barbers, bro.
what do you
Like,
mean?
I don't just go to any barber. Like, I
Okay.
think I've found someone that like, it's like finding a partner, right? It's like finding, like, a
Yeah.
spouse, It's
Yeah.
just like they understand your head. They
Mm,
understand what you like, and they understand, like, your style too, right? Because, like, some people, right, won't cut, to your head shape. They'll just cut and be like, "Oh, yeah, like, that technically looks good," right?
yeah.
Like, it can technically look good, but it won't look good on you,
Mm,
right? Like, it could be like that could be the perfect line, that could be the perfect cut, right? The
yeah.
perfect comb over, the perfect shape up, right? Right? The perfect fade, right?
Facts.
But the perfect fade might not look good on your head, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
everything up here could look great, but from there down, right, it's just kinda rough.
Oop.
Right?
Oop.
So, like, you have
Oop.
to, like, find a barber that will, like, treat your head uniquely, and I found one,
Hmm.
and the
That's
reason that
good.
it's on my head today is because or in my mind today, that's not on my head, is because, um, the last time I went to like, I missed my appointment because there was a funeral that I had to go
Mm,
to, like, one of our duties is to go to funerals or officiate them, right?
yeah.
And I had to go to one. It was a close friend of mine, and I decided to go, which means that at the same time I had an appointment for my barber, and he's my guy. And I
Mm,
called him. I was like, "Yo, I can't make it today. Is there any way that I could change the appointment?" He was like, "Nah, man. Like I'm busy for the rest of the week, but I know someone else,
sheesh.
right?"
Ooh.
And I was like,
Ooh.
"All," I was like, "All right." I was like, "I need a cut. I guess I could just go to this other guy that's next to you." And he vouched for him.
Yeah.
And I went,
Yeah.
and as I was sitting in the chair and he started cutting, I was like, "Oh no."
You
Uh,
knew. You knew. You knew.
knew right away that it was
Sheesh.
not gonna look
Sheesh.
good. And, because like, like the line the line here, the shape up, the beard connecting, the whole
Mm,
thing, he just didn't do it the way that I normally like it, and there was no
mm,
way that I could explain to him because I didn't have the technical terms to explain it. Like,
yeah.
I was, "Hey, like, I want it this way," and he did it the way that he thought that it should be done. And I kinda was walking around for the last 2 weeks like, "I hate the way I look right now." Like, I hate the way my
Stop.
yeah, man.
Stop.
I was like, "I hate the
Dang,
way my
bro.
beard look right now."
That's crazy.
And yeah, man, and then today I went in and he cut, and then I got out of the chair and I was like,
This is right. This is right. This
"Yeah,
is like 3 days of uncharacteristic, uncommon confidence. Like no one's gonna be able to tell you nothing. Like
nobody."
as soon as you left this chair, as soon as you left out the door, you
Yeah,
knew. You
yeah,
like when people looked at you, you knew why they were looking at you.
yeah,
Bro,
yeah.
I get it. I get it. I mean, I wish I still had that experience, because like I'm bald.
I lost you. I lost you. Y Your mic was so stunned it stopped working. Your your mic was so stunned it stopped working.
See, this what happens when you take your headphones off. Like I took my headphones off and everything, and because I took my headphones off, I can't even hear anything now.
That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. I can hear you now. I can hear
Okay,
you
there we
now. I
go.
can hear you now. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay, So yes, the
But your
praise
beard,
God for AirPods, right?
like, do you do your own beard or like
So like I cut myself now. I cut myself now. And I think I started at Andrews because I was like there was a person who when he cut me at Andrews, he made my hairline go like this. No, he made
ooh,
my hairline go like that. Cause like obviously my hairline was starting to fade on both sides, and so like we had the peaks coming in, and so it was good on. I think it was good on this side, right? No, it was good on this side, and so it went like this,
he like
and
he like shaped it up to go up like that?
yeah, because it was fading, and I didn't want that, but he did it, and I said I got to cut my own hair. I got to cut my own hair from now on, and I knew like the hairline was starting to fade, and I was just like, man, this sucks. So I was trying my best to hold onto my hairline and my hair as long as I could.
Yeah.
Um, and so that's kind of sort of what happened. I started cutting my own hair, and then like in pastoral ministry, it got worse. My hairline was just getting worse and worse, and I was just like, man, no matter what I do, no matter what happens, it's leaving me. And no matter what, like how we look is so important, right?
Yeah.
Uh, you can't say that pretty privilege and being attractive does not help you as a pastor. Um, it's why certain pastors get more clicks than other pastors. It's just because they look a certain way. It's because they look a
Yeah.
certain way, right? And so I was trying my best to maintain my hairline and maintain my hair, but it got to a point where I finally looked at myself on camera from the back and I saw that I thought I cut everything evenly back there. But I realized that I had different hair textures, and the hair was going in one direction in one part and a different direction in another part. And I
Mm.
said, "Oh wow, this is embarrassing." I had like a whole patch that was missing. I was cutting everything the same way, and I was like, you know what? I don't feel like learning how to cut like my hair the way that it's supposed to be cut. I'm just taking it all off. And after that, people just like, wow, you look so great, you
That's
know?
insane.
And,
I gotta get off camera and laugh.
bro,
That's
bro,
insane.
bro. And like my mustache, it's still trying to come in. It's still trying to come in. You know what I'm saying? It's still
Yeah.
trying to come in. And yeah, there's been a whole like transformation. I got my teeth fixed, like my mustache is finally starting to come in. It's not like peach fuzz.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
when I first started 3 years ago, I literally only had like a couple of these that really stood out. And like it looks a little bit more even now, but like 3 years ago, this side was the only side that was really there. And this side was struggling to get there, as you could probably see even now, right? And so, like, I had to learn how to like cut everything. I had to learn how to line everything up so that
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
be good. And so, all that happened, and people ask, why do you wear hats so much? I still have not embraced the fact that I'm bald. Like, I know
Wow.
I look good. I know people say I look good and all that stuff, but I still have not embraced it, and I
Mhm.
feel very comfortable in a hat. Like even before I went bald, like I just started to wear hats,
Yeah.
and I realized I had a good head. I had a good head for hats. And so I started to do it a lot more often. And yeah, man, that's really what happened. And so, bro, I feel you. Every
Yeah.
time I look at your hair, I don't get jealous. I don't get jealous
Oh,
of
you
your
don't?
head and your hair. No, not at all. I do it again. Do it again.
I'm
Do it
gonna do
again.
that
I don't get jealous at all. Like, cause I mean, I fully believe that like I look amazing the
Yeah,
way
you
that I look right now, you know.
yeah.
Um, but when I see you, it's just like, wow, that looks so nice. Like Elijah is a very attractive man. Like I can see why he got the girl that he got, cause he like that's a
Man.
very handsome guy. So
Bro, we praise God, bro, because that was not me. Like, if I could show you a picture of me in high school, freshman
oh wow.
year, like,
Mm.
Like I think I'll show it one day here on the podcast. Like
Bro, that's weird because like when I met you in college, like you look put together.
no,
Like
high school, high school,
y-
high school, high school, high school.
that's why I said college. I knew what I said. I knew what
Oh,
I
okay,
said.
okay.
I can't speak for high school, but by the time you got to college and everything, I think I met you
Gotta work it
maybe
out.
I think I met you your junior year. I met you your
Yeah,
junior year. And I mean
we
like it's high
did.
school. It's not like those relationships really matter anyway. Like,
But even
you know.
college too. I think the first year of college, I was still trying to
Mhm.
figure it out. Like
Yeah.
so I got my barber,
Mhm.
Carlos, great guy in Coolsville, Maryland. Like if
Yeah.
in case you need to cut, like I will 100%. I could vouch for this guy. Um,
Yeah.
he went to the same high school I did, but he graduated like maybe like 5
Word.
years ahead of me. Yeah.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I solidified him as my barber in college, and I
Yeah.
went to him. Yeah, and then when I got my cut, bro, I think I could line it up. When I got my cut, when I started getting my cuts from him, is when I started dating girls, like more consistently.
It's because you were taking things more seriously, bro. That's what was
Yeah,
happening. You were taking things
yeah.
more seriously. That's
Like
what
I would
was
get a
going on.
cut, he would shave my beard, and then like like this one girl behind in class would like just started talking to me, and I was just like,
Mm,
"Oh wow!" Like I'm realizing that now, like
mhm.
like how much a haircut can make a difference. Like,
Bro, especially like when you got the crisp line.
yeah,
Like I said, the first 3 days. I remember, and I say 3 days because like, um, one of my old classmates from Oakwood, whenever he would get like a haircut, he would always like post. He would do like,
yeah, the whole
and
yeah,
he would
yeah,
like show it on Instagram every time, and he would always say, "Hey, unlimited charisma and unlimited, like peak
yeah,
confidence for the next 3 days. Peak confidence
yeah.
for the next 3 days." Because everyone knows, like those first couple of days, like the hairline is crisp. The hairline
It
is
is.
crisp, and you know what ends up happening? Like after like the first couple of days, people tend to just put hats back on anyway.
Yep.
Like, especially like in at least in our profession at this point, like really Saturday when we have church is when I'm trying to make sure that my head looks good.
Yeah.
Every other day in the week, if I'm going out, like I have a hat on.
Mhm.
Typically everything unless it's a funeral. The only time like I make sure I look good during the week for real, is when I got a funeral. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
But outside of that, I have a hat on. There's
yeah,
no reason for me not to have a hat on,
that's
you
true.
know? So, because we don't like I know at your church you have Wednesday in the Word, right?
Yeah,
And you have to go live for that. At my church, our prayer meeting currently, we're on Google Hangouts.
yeah,
So you don't see each other and stuff like that. We don't
yeah.
have our cameras on for that. So the only time I really have my camera on is Saturday.
Mm.
Every other day, I don't need it. If I'm having a
I
meeting, like even board meeting, I typically have a hat on. Like I try to make
yeah,
sure I'm
that's
like
true.
business casual. You know what I'm saying? But I have a hat. So
I think I preached yesterday. So I was preaching yesterday for Wednesday in the Word, and I had a hat on preaching. Um, and I'm just realizing that now. And I think it's
you
because yeah,
you
yeah, I think I had a hat
you
on when I was preaching for Wednesday in the Word. Yeah. And it was
because you weren't
backwards
getting a
like this, and
haircut
it was backwards
today.
like this.
It's because you
Uh,
weren't getting a haircut until today. That's why, ain't it?
I think so. Like I'm just
It's
I
it's
think
subconscious.
it was just on my head the entire day, like in staff meeting, and then right after
I'm
staff meeting, we
shocked.
go right into Wednesday in the Word. Like I'm just remembering now, like, but no one said anything, you know. So y- you know,
Hey, I mean, you know, I know your context is. I mean, the context that we're in, it's a more formal
yeah,
context. Our
yeah,
churches.
yeah.
Uh, so that's different,
It's different.
because I know what I know how your church is, or how
But we
intentional
dress
the
down
pastoral
in Wednesday
staff
in the
is.
Word. Like we dress down, like we like hoodies and t-shirts. Like we dress down. Like it's not like a like business.
You know
Uh,
what? I think dressing down is one thing. I think wearing a hat is like next level. You
really.
know, I do. I mean, because like if we think about it, how like in in our pastors meetings, right? The area
Yeah.
or workers meetings, right? People will come dressed down, but the men will always take their hat off inside. I'm like
Yeah.
the only one. I'm like one of the only individuals who does not do that.
Yeah, because they take it
And
off when they put it on the table, right? Like
yep. Now
yeah.
that's like I don't want to say that's old school because I think generate like the older millennials, you know, even do that. You know what I'm saying? Like they wear
Yeah.
their hats now, but I think like you kind of sort of see like the
Mm.
shift between like the people where or the generations where one generation is like, hey, it's appropriate for a guy to take a hat off when you're inside. I don't really know why. I don't get it. Like I don't get why, you know,
I think it
it's
was a custom.
I don't know who created that custom,
Yeah.
but it's like a what is it really? Like, you know, like cuz we're not just wearing hats. We don't just wear hats for functional use. We wear hats for fashion, you know?
Yeah.
Like I keep showing y'all this hat. Start with Jesus, stay with
And
Jesus, end with
hey.
Jesus. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like this is a faith flag. But you know like older generations, they're more like, please take it off.
Mhm.
And younger generations, they're more just like, yeah, we don't care. You know, like what's the meeting about? Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but yeah,
That's
I
good.
I can
Yeah.
imagine that you didn't notice it because once you start getting to like the beginning of the wolfing phase, you have your hat on. You have your hat
Yeah.
on until like until you line everything up. You
Yeah.
cut the extra peach
Yeah.
fuzz off,
Yeah.
and it's crisp. And then you can take your hat off.
Yeah.
You know, I'm shocked that you have your hat on right now, to be honest. You know, but
'Cause
yes,
like, cause, cause, cause after a haircut, like
yeah,
my ritual has always been come home, take a shower, cause you know, like there's hair all over the place, and get it cleaned, and then
yeah,
don't put any product in that day, just so that your head has some time to heal, cause like
mhm,
they they like cut your scalp, right? So like I'm just like, all right, like let me just give my head some time to heal. So I don't put any product in. I don't put any product in general actually, but I put the hat on just to kind of keep everything down, just to kind of not even worry about it. And then also it's kind of bright, you know? So like I'm just like,
mhm,
all right, let me just like there's a functional aspect of it. But I've gotten
mhm.
so disciplined in getting a haircut, bro, every 2 weeks now that I like get it. Like, and we're spending a lot of time talking about haircuts, but if you're like a girl at that, but if you're a girl, if you are a girl out there and like you're in the dating pool, right? Like, do you think hats make guys look better? Like, that's like a thing I've always heard too. Is
Can I
like,
say something?
yeah,
I love that question. Um, because it's interesting. It's interesting that I forgot, but me and Janelle, we were talking about this before,
hmm
where we were talking about how, you know, at times it's important that a guy takes his hat off.
yeah,
And the reason why it's so important is because a guy can look a certain way with a hat, right? And you'd be like, oh, okay, attractive. And then they take the hat off, and you're like, oh,
that's
I
not.
wasn't expecting that. like, wait, let me say it. Let me say it. Let me say it. Oh, I wasn't expecting that shape. I wasn't
That's
expecting that
insane.
forehead. You
Oh
know,
my
like
gosh,
that forehead. Put your hat back on. Okay, take it. Oh,
I've seen that video.
oh. It's bro. It's similar. It's similar to like when a guy has a beard and
Yeah,
when a guy doesn't have a beard. You know what I'm saying? Like some individuals have to have a beard
yeah,
because you know without the beard they look away. They look away. They look
yeah,
away. They look a
yeah.
certain way.
Not
You
the most
know,
aesthetic that they could look.
not the most appealing. Not the most appealing.
Yeah,
And so I think that that's like the reality. That's the reality for some individuals. And so yes, that question
I
that
would
you're
love to
asking
know.
right now, that's a valid question, bro. That is a
Yeah,
valid question, my guy. That's a
yeah.
valid question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think I was in that situation too, where I think I was on a date
Mm.
and like I
Tell me more. Tell me more.
like I I I was driving
Mm.
because I had picked her up and I was driving to the spot and like I had my hat on, it was backwards, right? No, I think it was
Yeah.
forward because it was sunny. And then she was like, "Hey, can you take your hat off?" And I was like, "Sure." And she's like, "Oh," and I put it back on. And I was just like, "I don't like that." I was like,
Wait.
that's
She said. She said. Oh. She said. Oh.
no. She's like, "All right, good." Like, as in, like, you have hair. I think it's more like guys
That's
wear
rude.
that yeah.
That is
And like I
rude.
was like,
That
and I
is
don't
rude.
think we definitely didn't go on a second date. But like that was
It's not
crazy.
because of your head, though. It's not because of your head. It's not
No,
because of
no,
your
no,
head.
no, no, no. I chose not to go on the second date. Like she wanted to confirm that I had hair, and I
Wow.
and I had hair, and she's like, "All right, good. You know, there's hair there." Uh, and
What's
then
wrong with
she
guys
didn't.
not having hair?
Bro, it's prejudice, bro. It's
That is prejudice. It's prejudice. What?
100%. Like it's
What was her background, like her racial background?
is
And
it
the
bad
reason
that
why
I
I'm
don't
asking
remember?
the re- oh, okay. I'm shocked. The reason why I'm asking is because I'll be honest, if she was Indian, I'd be like, okay, I get it. Because I don't think ever met an Indian man who was bald. I don't think I've ever met an Indian man, and I don't think I've ever seen an old Indian man that was bald.
Bro, they're everywhere. They're like a majority of the population.
And you see how TV has messed up my perception of India. Like, you see, you see how it's messed up my perception.
Not
Like,
even the majority. I think that my dad's bald. Well, not like you know like
your
male
dad's not bald
pattern bald. Yeah, he is. He has no hair here.
at all.
He has he shaves off his entire head because he has
Does
like
he ever wear hats?
the
Because
male
when I went to
pattern
your aunt's
baldness.
house, when I went to your aunt's house, I don't remember him being bald. That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's
because he
crazy.
has a beard.
It's probably the beard probably covered it up. The beard probably
Yeah,
covered it up.
because it
How
drags
big
the
is his
attention.
beard?
It's not that big.
That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
I feel terrible. I feel terrible. I
It
feel
it's it
terrible.
it's all good, it's all good. The one question I always ask my barber is, "Hey, is it happening yet?" And then he always goes, "What?" And then I go, "Hey, like, do you see any patches? Do you see any receding lines?" He's like, "Nah,
Bro,
man."
you're old at this point. I don't think it's gonna happen. Like it typically happens like somewhere in the mid 20s. So
Really?
hasn't if it I mean if it hasn't happened for you yet, I don't think it's gonna happen for you.
I like that
Like, because
answer.
it either happens here in your 20s or it happens back here in your mid 20s.
And I'm
And
not seeing
so,
anything.
like, bro, you might be like in the minority, you might be in a lucky minority of guys who just gonna have hair. Like David, Thorpe,
Dave! Yo, Dave's
like that thing is crisp, bro.
it's crisp,
It's
bro.
crisp
It's
and
not
it's
aged at
nifty.
all.
Like, and so like the only thing that I can see happening is the fact that you're gonna get gray, like gray hairs.
That's
Like that's all
whoa.
crazy, but good, right?
Whoa.
You
Well,
know?
it's crazy but good, bro. It's crazy but good. But yeah, I would love to know the answer. Hat, no hat, beard. Does beard, make guys look better? Would love to know that answer. But talking about discipline though, like that discipline of going get my haircut every 2 weeks, bro, has been great. Where it's kind of brought some structure. Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No. Like I'm trying to segue into what
Oh shoot. I was gonna answer your question that like I think I look better with my hat when I'm not fat. I mean when I'm fat. Like
wait, say that again?
when I weigh less, weight like because right now I'm very puffy, right?
Mhm.
But when I weigh less, and the cheeks are more like
Yeah.
I I think that looks better, and I don't think it's because I'm fat phobic. I just think that it's because, like, I just think it looks cleaner,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
will say that.
I've had this conversation with Leah before, and I have very strong
Mhm.
opinions that I'll share
You
at a
say you
later
have her.
very strong opinions about the term that you just
uh,
used. I have some very strong opinions about the term that you just
fat
used.
phobic, fat
Yes.
phobic.
Yes.
You
Yes.
have very strong opinions. Why don't
Very
you just
strong
share it now?
opinions.
Why
Like,
don't you just share it?
because that's not the point of what we're trying to talk about today. So we're
Oh,
trying to talk about discipline. I don't want to go on a tangent like I always do, right? Like,
I
like,
mean, okay, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right.
are
It's
you,
it's
it
it's 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 2:41.
it will 100% pop up again, and I could go in, and I could go in. But
Okay.
what we want to talk about today is discipline. Like, why is it so hard
Yeah.
to stay disciplined? And I think I have some ideas as I was brainstorming it, like some ideas of why it's so hard to stay disciplined. But maybe we can share, between us two, like what's one or two things that we're trying to be more disciplined on when it
Mhm.
comes to kind of the pastoral work and our personal life. Like, what's one thing that you've been trying to be more uh I feel like discipline and consistency kind of are synonyms, but not the same thing. Like, what are you trying to be more disciplined on? Not just
I
consistent.
so I think sermon prep, one, be more disciplined on that front, because I recognize I do have the gift of speaking and
Hmm.
communicating, and I think I have the gift to communicate. I have a higher floor than other people
Hmm.
do. You know,
Yeah.
um, I I don't I don't need a full week. Um, like, no, let me not say I don't need a full week. A person can come up to me and say, "Talk about this," and shoot. I can shoot, right? And so I recognize that I have a higher floor than some other individuals do.
Hmm.
W you know, and so I recognize that at times, um, I will get scared. That's really what it
Hmm.
is. I'll get scared, about what I gotta do. And it will impact how much I really how qualitative the preparation is,
Hmm.
for the sermon prep.
Hmm.
So that I mean, another thing, I'm trying to lose weight, and I've been trying to lose weight for over 10 years. Over 10 years,
Oh, I
you
was gonna say
know?
like a year and a half.
Over? I mean, like, I didn't really learn how to do it until, like, I went to Andrews in 2018. Like, that's when I really start to learn what you gotta do to lose weight.
Yeah.
So 2018, it's 2025. So it's almost 7 years because I started Andrews, of course, in September of
Yeah.
2018. So it's been almost 7 years. Um, and so that's another thing that I'm trying to do. And I feel like I know what to do. I've learned the knowledge from YouTube and from reading several articles that have, listed consistent things,
Yeah.
but I struggle to do it. So that's me. What about you? What are some things that, some goals? Because in the last episode, we did talk about goals and things like
Goals.
that.
Yeah.
So what are some things that you want to do, but you're finding difficult to do?
One of the things, bro, is meeting uh those non-essential deadlines.
Mhm.
So like what I mean by that is like if I'm talking with someone and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna send that over to you by Monday, right? And it's just like a it's it's just like a random piece of paper. Doesn't really mean anything to them or to me, but they just kind of need it, right? It's like, hey, I'm gonna send it over to you by Monday. But then on 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 Wednesday morning, I'm like, oh, I completely forgot about it.
Mhm.
And I never sent it over. So then I'll get it in the email, attached to the email, and then I'll get a call, and I'm on the call,
Mhm.
and then during the call, I'm opening up other tabs to figure out what they need, or like answering stuff. And then by the time I'm done with that call, I'm on to the next thing because in my mind
You
I
forgot,
attached it. Yeah.
bruh. Yes, yes, yes. Been there, been there, been there. That
And
is
like
so real,
like it's been
so
attached in an
real.
email. So it's like my brain is just like it's done. Like move on.
Mm,
Right. So like I think what I've been trying to do and get better at is writing things down. So I'm trying to get more disciplined. I've noticed that when I write things down on paper, I can always come
mhm.
back to it and I can go check, 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 check. Because in college, I would operate on a mental checklist and it would work, but it was structured where I only had to have like 4 or 5 things for 4 or 5 classes, right?
Mhm,
So it would work,
mhm.
but now I have like multiple things in multiple areas. So like I'm trying to get more
And
disciplined.
they're
Yeah,
not all impacting you. Like with college, the classes are directly impacting you. But
yeah,
the things that at times we have deadlines for now, they're impacting other people. You
right.
know, they don't always directly impact us. So you're right.
You're
You're right
right.
about that.
You're right, you're
You're
right.
right.
Like, it's just like they're waiting on you to send something over so they could start their work or finish what they're working on. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to get more disciplined in writing it down in, like, a to-do, like, Microsoft Note, it has, like, this feature where you can open up, like, a to-do list for the for either the day or just, like, an extended one, and I've been getting in the habit now of if I'll say I'll do something, I just open it up and put it at the bottom of the list. And then throughout the day, I just go through it and I check off, I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this.
Mm.
So at the end of the
Yeah.
day, kind of have some accomplishment. But it has been a growing process where
Mhm. Yeah.
it's
That's real.
like it works most of the time, and then sometimes it doesn't, where it's just like I can't do like 15 tasks in that day because like I have other things to do as well, right? Like go get gas, go put some, go get food, right? Like
That's real.
normal things too. So it's like, man, like so sometimes it slips into the next day, which is fine, right? But
Mhm.
then I don't write down the tasks of that day, and then it kind of just cascades. So I've
Mhm.
been trying to get more discipline in writing those things down so that it doesn't get lost. And then
Same.
like 2 weeks later, it's just like, oh, I never replied to you about.
So real. So
Yeah,
real.
yeah.
So
But
real.
what are some of the pitfalls that you think, as people are getting more disciplined that can get in the way, especially of like our goals? Like, what do you think are some of the most common like
So, like, I think discipline is something that's really difficult. One, I don't know if people really think about this, but discipline is not just something that people just wake up and you have it. You
yeah,
know, even if it looks like it, the reason why some individuals are more disciplined than others is because of the fact that like they practiced it somewhere in some way. And
yeah,
here's the thing: I've learned that some individuals are disciplined in some areas without them even realizing it. You
yeah,
know, and it's all about conditioning. It's all about conditioning. Like for instance, we may have to become more organized and be more disciplined within our organization. Yet, let's say if it comes to us consuming certain things, right? I have my entire life I've been extremely strict on not drinking at all, and
yeah,
so like my discipline when it comes to like consuming alcohol is at an all-time high. Whereas someone else who has never made that commitment and who has never uh like intentionally practiced it, that
yeah.
they may not be the most disciplined in that area.
That's
Yet
true.
they're more disciplined in another area. It
Yeah,
could be exercising. And that's something I'm not good at because I was since I was a kid, that was not something that was built in, that was taught from like my parents or from like my family and things like that. And so as a result of it, I think that it's lacking. And I think something that a lot of people don't recognize is that, it's it's possible that the reason why they struggle with being disciplined it's because they don't recognize that it's a skill. It's something that you learn how to do and develop. It's a muscle that grows as you grow. And so that's
yeah.
what that's the first thing that I would say. What about you?
I think yeah, and you're absolutely right because it is a growth process. I think what what sometimes we tend to do is we overcompensate. And what I mean by
Mm,
that is like if you're saying like a simple thing that everyone does is, "Hey, I want to eat better," right? And what some people do
mhm.
is they go to Costco or they go to Giant,
Ooh,
right? And then they only get salad, and then they only get the veggies, right? And then
go
when
hard from the jump.
they go hard, and then when they're eating, they don't feel satisfied, they don't feel satiated, and then they find themselves going back to junk food or buying food outside. And then by 2 weeks by 2 weeks, your salad is bad because you haven't opened
Yeah,
it up yet, right? It's all watery.
yeah.
The veggies are all rotten because you haven't cut them or cooked them, right? Or even if you did, right? Like the cooked food in the fridge is bad now because it's been 2 weeks.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
what I found is that I like it was literally this morning when I was like, I don't like eating avocados. Right?
Mhm.
Like, in terms of, like, every single day. Like, I'm like, "I don't like
Wow.
avocados." And I've been trying to eat better, and I realized, I was like, I like the patties from Costco that are, like, chicken. Like like like
Mhm.
like like, fully cooked through, all you have to do is pop in the air fryer. I was like, "I like those." I like ground beef, and I like my veggies, but I was like, I don't go out of my way to go get they have, like, the cups of avocado already cut up and everything, and I was like, "I
Mhm.
don't like those." And I was like, "Why am
Mhm.
I forcing myself to eat and buy avocados that, like, I'm not gonna eat?"
Very good
So,
point.
I figured
Mhm.
out that after 2 weeks, I was like, the food that I'm not naturally eating, I would take them out and then get
Mhm.
more of the food that I'm actually gonna eat day to day and build a habit around it. So I feel like that's kind of thing is like you're right, it's a process that's over time, but you have to
Yeah.
figure out like what works for you specifically. Do you
Yep.
not like avocados? Do you like avocados? Do you not like patties? Right? Then don't get the patties.
That's really good.
Substitute it in with something else so that over this year, right, you figure out what you do like, what you're naturally being pulled to, right? And then get more of the healthier alternatives in that area rather than you just doing a full 180, right? Like,
I love that.
yeah, like most cars break if you just turn the wheel at
Mhm.
full speed, right? Like,
You'll flip over likely. You'll flip over likely. Certainly.
yeah, yeah,
Certainly. Certainly.
yeah.
All right. Pause.
It's yeah,
Pause. 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 We gotta stop. So, bro, I think like I think that what you're saying is like extremely impactful. Um, Especially because of the fact that you know a lot of times we set goals or we have these ideas of how things are supposed to go.
right.
And we don't, and at times we don't take context into consideration. And the reality is that not everyone's context is the same. And so
Mhm.
because not everyone's context is the same, the truth is that we shouldn't like just have all these goals um and dive deep into it without, understanding the process. Like
Right.
very similar to what you were saying. I know like when I was before I could actually be effective when it comes to getting in shape, I had to understand like the truth of it.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is like it's one thing to say, hey, just make sure you're exercising. And I was exercising, right? But nothing was changing. And I was like, what's going on? Like, I'm exercising based on what the people on YouTube are telling me. Like, as long as I exercise, like if I'm doing the ab exercises and everything, like I'm thinking that like slowly but surely,
It
like
should.
the fat is going to melt, the packs are going to start showing, the abs are going to start showing. But no, that wasn't it. The truth is that there were other things that were necessary. I had to
Yeah.
eat less.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's a real thing. And so before like you go on a deep end, you kind of sort of got to figure out like the most accurate way that works for you to be
Right.
successful in your effort. Because I think I heard someone say this, and let me know what your thoughts are about this. You know, um, consistency over intensity. Someone said
Mm,
that it's more effective to be consistent, more so than it is for you to be um, intense. Because
mhm.
a person, this person said, you could be intense for a week and then you fall off the next week.
Yeah,
But if you're consistent, or if you
yeah,
practice consistency, even if it's like less, even if it's less intense, you still keep it going. You still keep it
yeah,
going. And
yeah.
so that's what I think of when I think about like what you said, or what you're saying about, hey, it's one thing to just eat a whole bunch of salad, but can you really be consistent with eating that salad? Or will you be good for one week if you even last a week, and then like
Even
you
that.
said, slowly but surely start to sneak in the things that you were doing beforehand. So yeah,
Yeah,
man, that's
yeah.
that's one of the thoughts.
No, man, consistency over intensity, I think that's just a great motto. Like, if you're still looking for a word for the new year, like, I would make that your phrase, right? Like,
Yeah.
consistency over intensity, because like, you're right, like, I in in terms of growing, right, I think a lot of us get really intense, and then we fall right back into what we normally do, and
Mm,
that's just because we're just not consistent with change. Like, I mean,
yeah.
imagine, like, lifestyle change is like a pool, right?
Mhm,
A lot of us just jump into the deep end without knowing what what temperature the water is,
mhm,
without knowing how deep it is, and then some of us end up drowning on the deep end because we haven't checked, can you if if you can even swim or not, right? You just say,
yeah.
"Oh, I want this," and you just jump in. I think the more disciplined way of having change in your life, of becoming more disciplined, right? The disciplined way of becoming more disciplined.
The discipline will become more disciplined.
Is 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 really dipping your toes in first. Now, of
That's good.
course, there's variance to it. Like, if the doctor has said, "Hey, like, you need to lose this amount of weight or else your health is in
Mhm,
danger," right? Then of course you need to
mhm,
make a switch like that in your life, and you need to be
mhm.
more consistent with it. But if you have that time, right, a disciplined manner is approaching it in small bites
That's
of,
good.
all right, I'm not gonna have a smoothie, right, that has a lot of sugar in it. I'm just gonna be more conscious of what I eat. I'm still gonna eat, but I'm gonna be more conscious. So, like, when we talk about our goals, right, and things that we want to do,
Mhm,
the thing that I told myself is, when someone tells me something and I say that I'm gonna do it, I'm just gonna open up my notepad, or I'm gonna open up the
mhm,
app, and I'm just gonna type it down. It doesn't matter where. I'm just gonna type it down so that when I open it up again, I'll just see it there. And then the next step
that's
to
good.
that, I'm just gonna open up the Microsoft OneNote app and then type it in there. So it's like a progressive, you know where you're trying to go. You're
Mhm,
gonna mess up sometimes, but set yourself up for success so that as you're as you're trying to get there and as you're trying to move there, you're you're allowing yourself some space to mess up,
yeah,
and it won't destroy that lifestyle change that you're trying to get into, bro. Like, that's what stops a lot of stuff.
yeah. You're right. Um, you're so right. I would also say accountability, dude. Because like hearing this topic, it kind of sort of reminds me of like coaching. And what's
Mm,
funny today, I was actually thinking about the fact that, man, I have a whole like coaching degree. I mean, coaching certification. Um, and I remember in grad school, because while we were at Andrews, I also on the side was getting a coaching certification.
mhm.
Um, and I was like, dang, like I haven't really done anything with this, you
Yeah.
know. But what's interesting, I bring this up because one of the things about coaching that we always bring up, and that I was taught, why coaching is so effective is because it really helps with the concept of accountability.
Mhm.
Um, and I think, for a lot of us, the reason why um, we don't really succeed when it comes to the goals that we set is because we don't have a clear way to remain accountable to the things that we say we're going to do.
Mhm.
And so because of the fact that we're not like remaining accountable, it becomes extremely easy for us to fall off the wagon, especially when it's not something that we're passionate about. It's not,
Yeah.
especially when it's not something that just makes the dopamine receptors like go off and buzz off.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, like a lot of the things that a lot of the things, and not just talking about goals, but if we even make this like super spiritual, like if we talk about, if we say, hey, I no longer want to do this sin, I no longer want to um, uh, exhibit this behavior or go through this thought process. Um, a lot of the times, they're hard to overcome
Mhm.
because the things that we currently do, in some way, shape, or form, it feels good in the moment. It feels good
Yeah.
in the moment. Or we're trying to make sure that we don't experience pain. Hence why
Mhm.
we lie, sometimes why people steal. They lie because they're afraid of what would happen if they tell the truth.
If
They
yeah.
steal because they feel like if I don't steal now, well, what's going to happen to my family, or what's going to happen to
When I
me if
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't bring in some money, right? And so, I just say that because of the fact that in most instances, when we do certain things that go against the grain, we're really fighting the things that feel good.
Mhm.
Like sometimes just going out to restaurants and going out to fast food restaurants, like it feels good
Oh,
in the
yeah.
moment. It
Yeah.
feels good in the moment.
Yeah.
Um, when it comes to hanging out with certain people, and this is not necessarily my story, but when it comes to, I know that there are some individuals, who hang out with certain people, who they should not
Mhm.
be hanging out with, just because it's just not good for them. But, in the moment, having a person who you can talk to, in the moment, having a person who you can physically touch, in a
Mhm.
moment, having a person who like gets you emotionally going.
It's good.
Those things they feel so good.
Yeah.
And I think at times we need to acknowledge the fact that these things feel good to us.
Mhm.
Yet we also need to acknowledge, yeah, this ain't good for me. And
Right.
so, I think that's something that comes to mind for me when, we just talk about, hey, why are we struggling
Yeah.
with this concept of discipline? Why are we
Yeah.
struggling with it? So,
Doc Doc Peeler, in one of his sermons, he was talking about,
mhm,
are you, are you passionate about it, or are you motivated about it? Like, he's
mm,
like he was like, "Hey, like, there's a difference, right? Like, are you passionate about being healthy?" Right? Like, he was like, "Passion can only get you so far." Right? Like, passion can only go ahead and get you so far. So,
yeah,
like, or but are you motivated to go and do it?
mhm,
Motivation gets you there. Like, it's more of that
mm,
marathon, right? Passion is that intensity, right? It's like it's quick. Sometimes passion is there and sometimes it's not there, right? And then you
yeah,
have that ultimate goal at the end, and then just like, all right, well, what is motivating me to do this, right? So for me personally,
yeah,
what is motivating me to be on to fulfill some of those non-essential deadlines, right?
mhm,
Is hey, I just want to be better at if I give my word, right? Like
yeah,
it'll be there, right? So what is
yeah,
motivating me? That is just that's is that I'm not just passionate about it because sometimes I might wake up and be like, "Ugh, I don't want to go and look at this checklist that I have
mhm,
to do, right? But it's like,
mhm.
no, I got motive. So like, what is your motivation? What's your passion? Are you just passionate about it, or are you motivated in getting some discipline in this year? And bro, I'm kind of curious, how many of us are still on pace to reach our New Year's goals, our
Mhm.
resolutions? Like, are you still doing it? Right? Like, are you still on that on the path to getting there, or have you already quit? I think I'd be
Yeah.
excited to hear.
Have you already quit? Yeah, man. I think that that's something that's excellent. I mean, one, we're still in January. And so even if you don't have any goals, even if you don't have any resolutions, it's not too late. I think, even biblically, we're told that, it's because individuals don't have a vision, because individuals don't have a goal, depending on like the translation that you read, it says that the people perish. If
People perish.
you
Yeah.
know, because of the lack of a vision, because of the lack of a goal, the people of God, they perish.
Hmm.
And the truth is that there are some of us who are really idle. And one thing that I've learned about Satan is that when you're idle, if you are idle, like, or if you're just going through the motion, moving without purpose, it is easy for him to really take you off track. And so I say that because, at times, some of us, we kind of sort of just go throughout the year. And we're just thinking, oh man, I got to work so I can get money. To get
Hmm.
money so I can pay for bills,
Yep.
possibly pay for, the vacations and pay for
Mm.
the clothes and pay for this and that. And it's just like, hey, what more can we do to make,
What can we do?
these days, to make these weeks, to make these months more impactful? Like
Yeah.
we have a new president, we have a new administration, and there's been a lot that's been happening just in 1 week, you
1 week.
know, like, just to be clear with you, dude, you know, at my church, Heights in Hyattsville, like we have ICE agents, like looking for individuals to approach, and
Hmm.
it's because I'm in a very like concentrated area of
Minorities.
Latino
Yeah.
and Hispanic people,
Yeah.
and so they're at the school across the street from my church, waiting for like children to go there because Ridgecrest, as well as just the school down the street, Cesar
Yeah.
Chavez, like it's highly populated with Latino and Hispanic population. Why do I bring that up? Simply just because of the fact that, hey man, there's a world that needs people who are moving with purpose.
Hmm.
Like we're in a time right now where individuals are moving with purpose, and it's crucial because we're really divided, and you see
Yeah.
it. And I was telling my church this last night, and we're divided as a church right now. You have some individuals who are like, yes, we're finally getting these things that we needed to happen for a very long time. And then on the opposite side, typically, I think um, our demographic, our context, you have individuals who are like, yeah, this is not good.
Yeah.
This does not look good at all. He should not be encouraging federal workers to quit.
Mm.
He should not be giving them a package where they can get paid for the next 6 months if they quit in February.
Hmm.
Like it seems like he's lining things up. This administration is lining things up so that a particular group of people can indeed be in charge. But
Yeah.
that's another conversation for another day. So
It 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 it's interesting, man. It's really, really,
yeah.
really, really interesting. And maybe in a future episode we kind of get into it because this is, our podcast. So I'm encouraged, bro. This year started off well. Looking forward to at the end of this year and even catching up in between throughout and seeing how things are going with our goals, with your goals if
Certainly.
you're listening and you're watching, how your goals are going. Make sure that you are in community with us. Tell us if there's anything that you want us to go into, any questions you have about the pastoral life, especially
Please.
from the younger side of things now. Not young
Hmm.
like we used to be, but from the younger
Yeah.
side. So please let us know. We would love to hear it. Aside of that, bro, I hope everyone else watching right now or listening, I hope you have a great
Hmm.
rest of the day or evening, whatever time you'll be watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the
Yep.
podcast on our YouTube channel. We're on Apple Podcasts now as well, and Spotify and on YouTube. Go ahead, subscribe to our channel so that we can go ahead and get featured. On top of that, bro, is there anything else you want to say before we sign off this episode?
Nah, man. We said it last episode. We know that the Ravens lost, but I think I'm excited for this offseason. I'm seeing like a couple of moves. We brought back Chuck Pagano.
Mhm.
We let go of two of our defensive assistant coaches, and today, I just found
Really?
out that Justin Tucker got
Huge scandal.
has yeah, and you know, that's not good for his legacy. But I don't have
I'm
anything else.
we could go into that next time
Yeah,
I read
I don't have
his
anything else.
I I definitely read his response, and then I read the Baltimore Sun or the Baltimore what? The Baltimore
The
Sun said.
Baltimore Banner.
Banner. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
All I gotta say is if two spas unfortunately have like a ban on you, like that's a little iffy. So,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah,
it doesn't really matter. I
yeah.
think it's all right. It's all good. We'll talk about it because this is these are two pastors that support the Baltimore Ravens. So
Yeah, yeah, so
being
we'll get
said,
into
I'm
it
done,
next time,
man.
we'll get into it next time. Have a great rest of the day, y'all. We'll catch you on the next one. Until then, see ya.